Hello, Facebook land. I am Mandy Horn, the Traveling Compass, and you can find me across all your channels as the Traveling Compass. I am a travel agent that helps you travel smart, and it's now the month of March, and so I'm coming to you to go through some things about all-inclusives that you may need to know for your upcoming spring break. Now, I'm hoping throughout the month of March to bring you different aspects of going to all-inclusives. I just got back from Jamaica and was reminded of some things that I should really tell people, tell my clients about how they can travel smart when they visit an all-inclusive. So that's what we're going to go through today. The first in this series is 5 things that nobody tells you about all-inclusives, so that you need to know to have a good time. So let's go ahead and get started on things that you should know about all-inclusives. All right, so the first thing is that there's some things at an all-inclusive that you need to BYOB, or just bring your own. And those are up here. Things that you need to bring to an all-inclusive would include a swim bag. Some upper end properties will provide you one, but you really need to have your own. If they don't, just going back and forth from the room to your beach gets really cumbersome for your room key, for sunblock, whatever you want, that you really will want to have some kind of swim beach bag with you, preferably with pockets to make that easier for you. Then second up is going to be a Yeti. Some people really like their drinks cold and they don't like it when the ice melts in their beverages and waters them down. So you may prefer to bring your own Yeti. The bartenders will refill your drinks for you in that if you want an insulated cooler to keep your drinks cold throughout the day. So Yeti. Then you'll need your curling iron or straightener. Most resorts provide a hair dryer, which is awesome because it already automatically works with whatever voltage and plug size they have at the resort. But if you use a curling iron or straightener, especially in humidity, for my ladies with curly hair, you will want to bring your own. That's not something that's typically provided by most resorts. And you will also want to consider that you may need at least an adapter to fit a different kind of plug, as well as a converter that will take whatever voltage to be the correct voltage to use. It's really easy to blow those up. So you may want to be careful if you have a really, really high-end curling iron or straightener. And then lastly, you will want to bring your own clothes for the restaurants. Now, some evening restaurants at a resort have dress codes, long pants for guys or khaki pants. Different women typically have a little bit more lax on skirts and blouses and things like that, but sometimes you need to have dress shoes. So you need to know what resorts you're planning on eating at, the restaurants there, if you need to bring your own dress clothes, because otherwise you can end up bringing like the one shirt you have to wear every night to dinner because you only brought one that had a collar. So make sure you know what your resort is going to require for that and pack it and bring your own. So next up, what you need to know, that's the first thing on bringing your own stuff that no one needs to tell you about going to an all-inclusive, is going to be the toilets. I actually took a picture when I was in Jamaica this week because sometimes no one wants to talk about the toilets, but we need to. They're different than American toilets. You will see on my photo over here, there's like 2 little buttons. There's a large button and a little button. The large button, just so that you are aware, is for larger solid waste, and the small button is for non-solid waste. You'll see variations on this at different places, but sometimes it confuses people. You should also know that toilets in general, most places outside of the U.S. are not as sturdy. The piping and plumbing behind them are not as sturdy as U.S. toilets. They clog very, very easily. So be very, very careful what you put down them. Don't overload them. Make good use of the trash receptacles that are typically next to them, because it's super easy to overwhelm an all-inclusive toilet. Now, so that's 2 things that you need to know about going to your all-inclusive. Next up is going to be prep your phone before you go. And to prep your phone before you go, just ignore my family's face in the background. I took a screenshot up top here. That area right there. When you go to be on the resort Wi-Fi to like text or look things up on the internet, you don't want to get slammed with international roaming charges, which is not a great plan. So what you need to do then is you need to make sure when you get to the resort that you, first of all, you turn off roaming on your phone, that then you turn off cellular capabilities, and it may differ depending on the resort, but make sure you turn off both of those and then connect to the Wi-Fi. And so when you get to resort, after you do all that, up top, you should see that you are not connected to a cellular network, that you are in fact connected to the Wi-Fi on the resort. If you don't see that, your phone may still be trying to connect to the cellular network on wherever you are on the island or country, whatever, and you could get huge international fees. I've had this happen to clients where they think they're on the resort Wi-Fi, and then they only find out later that, in fact, no, they were just randomly connecting because they still had roaming on. So make sure you turn roaming off, turn your cellular capabilities off, and then go ahead and connect to the resort Wi-Fi, and you should be good. If you have any questions on that, you may want to put your phone in airplane mode. If you can bear not being on the internet, because that will also disconnect you from Wi-Fi. But, if you're really worried about it, go ahead and flip on the airplane mode, and that will disconnect you from everything so you're not running up bills. Okay, so then what else do you need to know? The 5 things you really need to know about an all-inclusive going there. The 4th thing I will tell you is that you should download the resort app. These are great things that are, most resorts have one of some kind, and they can have your Wi-Fi access, they can have maps, they can have restaurant descriptions and menus. They're just all around a great thing to have on your phone before you go. So I would highly recommend that you get that whatever app is for your particular resort on your phone. Sometimes you can book spa through there. Sometimes you can use a resort credit through there. So make sure you have that and are familiar with it before you get on site. Now, the last thing that I'll tell you about 5 things that no one tells you about an all-inclusive are going to be, and they're kind of ugly, so here you go. Okay, ugly shoes. No, you don't necessarily need ugly shoes for a resort, but what you do need are sturdy shoes. I can't tell you how many TripAdvisor reviews that I have read where someone says they slipped on the tile. Okay. In hot tropical places around the globe, they use tile for everything. Slick tile sometimes. They don't have the same standards that sometimes Americans do about having to have texture on the tile to keep people from slipping. So I don't care if you're in Hawaii, Tahiti, wherever, everything's made of tile. And in your bathroom, in your shower, walking between places, everything in the elevators, it's all made of tile. And it can get really slick if you have thin-soled flip-flops, like especially foam ones. And I see this a lot on kids' shoes because we tend to not buy like the super expensive flip-flops if you're like me for your kids. So make sure that whatever you're getting for your flip-flop walk-around shoes actually has a little bit of tread on it. And now I have picked, this happens to be a Teva. These are great. They're not particularly lovely. Sometimes they're not always ultra fashionable, but they tend to not slip on tile. And so many people have gotten hurt on tile. You just need to be careful that your shoes are actually sturdy enough and capable of walking around and keeping you safe. Just to be extra careful. Don't go with or super slick, thin leather shoes also tend to fly really easily. So you don't want your kids getting hurt. You don't want you getting hurt. Make sure you bring sturdy shoes. So those are my top 5 things that no one tells you about all-inclusives. And I hope to bring you a couple other in this series throughout the month as we get ready for spring break, things that you need to know. I'm hoping that we're going to be talking about food at all-inclusives, things that you need to know that I tell people all the time, as well as some other topics to prepare for spring break. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If it's been helpful to you, please share with your friends. You can find me, Mandy Horn, The Traveling Compass, at The Traveling Compass on Facebook, as well as Twitter and Instagram. You can see my latest pictures from Jamaica on there, or you can find me at www.thetravelingcompass.com online. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and I will get back to you as to how I can help you travel smart in the future. Thanks for joining me today, guys. See y'all soon.